That just happened. As you can see, we are working out the kinks to set this all up. That was my phone that just dropped. Here we go. We're gonna get this set up. You guys hold on patiently for me, please. Try that. If it doesn't stick, do it this way. There we go. There we go. Can you see us? See this birdie bug? Good. We're good. Jess Ice is here. Free Hills here. Good, good, good. All right, guys. We're coming live from Fitbody 360. So a lot of you guys have been here before. A lot of our Xceleration clients have been here before. John's here. We got a body fat done. This is the real deal for body fat testing, guys. This is the latest and greatest thing in fitness, I think, and it's going to sweep the fitness nation for sure. But we're not really here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about the man behind the business, Brandon Long. So he's making an interest right now. Are we recording on that?
That is, yeah. Hi guys, how you doing?
Brandon was eating like normal.
Sorry, stuff on my face.
Yeah, here we go. Make sure that volume's up. So, John, what introduction?
Yes, this is episode, actually I think it's 9, you said 8. This is episode 9 of the Xceleration Fitness Podcast with our man Brandon Long, we just said, Ben Boudreaux, John Pat. As always, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. So,
I'm gonna steal the intro because I know Brandon for a long time. Brandon is from Ohio. He's gonna tell you exactly where in Ohio, but he was a college football player at Michigan State. That's how I met him. We were at state at the same time. I was wrestling, he was playing football. Brandon played football at Michigan State. He was a linebacker, went on to play in the NFL, and now he's at Fitbody 360, changing lives every single day. So we're trying to get to the nitty gritty of Brandon Long, find out where he's from, everything. What's your hometown?
I'm looking at Ohio. So little small town in northeastern Ohio. And actually my home stadium where I played football in high school was where the Hall of Fame game is held every year. So it's a big, actually a pro football stadium that I got to play in high school. Yeah,
so big city?
Not really. So kind of a small town, or at least small town vibe to it anyway. But football is kind of everything. So it's the mecca for football, and that's where they decided to put, like, that's where pro football started actually.
Really?
Yeah.
You got brothers, sisters?
So actually, yeah, I've got 3 little brothers. My parents remarried, dad remarried. I got three little half brothers that.
You're awesome. You're the oldest of 4 boys.
I'm the oldest of 4. Yep.
Wow, I'm the youngest of 4.
Yeah.
So it's
the baby complex.
That's right. That's right. So grew up in Canton, Ohio. What was it like growing up? I mean, were your brothers close to you?
No, actually not. Very, very opposite. I think the oldest one was born when I was 16. So okay. I've actually been more of kind of like an uncle, mentor type position than actually like a big brother. We didn't live in the same house growing up for the most part.
So your athletic career was built basically by you. I mean, you and your dad. I mean, because I had siblings growing up, so my brothers helped my wrestling career. But like, you're obviously very, very successful in football. When did you start being successful in football?
Yeah, I've always been, honestly, just pretty good at sports. I mean, that was kind of my thing. School, for whatever reason, I was always really passionate about learning, but not very passionate about school. I know that's kind of a weird thing. So sports were my outlet, and I don't know how I played just about everything. I wrestled as well. I did baseball, track, and for whatever reason,
Were you good at baseball?
So I probably had the opportunity. I would have had the opportunity to maybe play in college as well with baseball, but at a much smaller school, I had to pursue it. What?
First base?
I was a pitcher, a catcher, and first base.
See the big bat too?
Throw gas?
Through the heat?
Yeah.
No,
really?
No. I think I had a pretty strong arm, like relatively speaking.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah, I wasn't gonna be the guy that was throwing 90s. Anyway, and yeah, so I picked up on football, being from that town that I was talking about. Having family, my dad played college football, my uncle played in the NFL.
Whoa.
Most of my family was, big into football. A few of my cousins played in college.
Where'd your dad play?
My dad actually played at Purdue, went and played at Purdue, and then went to Kent State. My uncle was like a Playboy All-American at Purdue, played in the NFL for the Lions for a long time, and stuff. Yeah, so big, like, breeding stock, family type of thing. Football was a lot where I come from and in my family, so that's why I kind of gravitated to that, I think.
What's Thanksgiving like at your house?
A lot of food. A lot of food.
Is there a football game played?
What's that?
Is there ever a football game played between your uncle, your dad, and you?
I don't know if that would pan out well for a lot of our bodies. We might be broken. No, every year we go on a fishing trip, and all the men in my dad's side, which is like 5 guys, all my cousins are guys, we get together and go on like a fishing trip every year, and all of us go out to a restaurant together, like one of the nights, and we walk into this place and they look at us like we're like just close the doors, like shut down, we don't have enough food, so it's pretty funny.
That's awesome. So that was, I'm guessing, your influencers, your uncle and your dad, football wise.
Yeah, I would say probably. You know, had a lot of friends that played too. A lot of guys that actually made it to the NFL level. A lot of my friends were playing football too, so that was kind of a big driver for me as well.
So it's kind of like this norm growing up in your city.
Yeah, no kidding.
D1 or NFL, it just happens.
Yeah. So actually, my best friend growing up, his name's Brian Hartline. He played at Ohio State, and then he played in the NFL for much longer than I did, and had a much more successful career than I did. So, at one point, I think on my when I was a senior, there were probably 4 guys that ended up making it to the NFL.
That's
on
crazy.
my team. So it was.
So you guys were pretty good then, I would imagine.
Yeah, not as good as you would think,
Really?
believe it or not.
Yeah.
Not as good as we should have been by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, we had some talented guys.
There's probably a lot of competition in your city, in that area.
Yeah. So one of the, I don't know, you guys probably never have heard of it, but the first high school game to ever be played, bets be placed on it, is Massillon-McKinley.
I've heard of Massillon.
Yeah. Big rivalry that I think they still place bets on it in Vegas. So they have a line running in Vegas on the game every year. So it's a big football city, big football town.
Best? No, let's start here. Was there ever a time that you sucked at football? I mean, maybe there wasn't, but was there ever a time you were like, man, I'm just like in the trenches right now, like getting my ass kicked? Like, is there ever a time in your life that happened, or was it just like 7th grade on, I'm just destroying kids?
No, man, I don't know if I was ever in my career like a dominant player. I mean, I don't think ever throughout I was the guy that was like, oh well, it's, you know, I was just gonna run shop. Yeah, I think I was always kind of like on the upper end, you know, because of my size and my genetic ability and things like that and my work ethic, but I was never like the guy, and so I was always kind of struggling to be the starter. I think in high school, you know, I had it a little bit easier as I got older, but then in college, when you first walk, I mean, as you know, first time you walk into a college weight room or whatever, it's really easy to feel like a small fish in a big ass pond, you know what I mean?
Describe your first experience walking into the weight room at Michigan State. Like maybe a story from like one of your first workouts,
Right.
where it was like, holy shit, I'm here.
Or actually, first practice where I got thrown in with I didn't redshirt as a freshman, so I played quite a bit.
As a true freshman?
As a true freshman.
Wow.
And well, the Michigan State guy, there was a pretty prominent quarterback. His name was Drew Stanton at the time, and I got a chance to play, and we had some injuries, so I got put in with the ones, like the starters, as a freshman. And I was it was probably in camp, you know. So I'm like week 2 in college, like
You're with the big dogs.
I'm with the starters, with no business being with the starters, frankly. And I hopped in, and I remember just getting like out of my stance and standing up, and Drew, my job was to like contain Drew, who's a pretty athletic guy, pretty mobile dude, and which means keep him inside the tackle box, basically, keep him in contained. And I had just looked up out of my stance, and he was behind me already. And I just remember thinking, like, I have no business here. Like, I'm gonna quit.
Where's the sideline at?
This is awful. So that's my one like first notable experience, when the speed of the game and just the talent level was like, this is crazy. Where I really, really felt like I'm terrible at what I do.
Isn't that crazy? You go from high school, high level, to like, you probably knew how to read the lines and it's the same game, but like, it just happens like that, like it's behind you.
So then walk us through your progression past, you know, that first experience, like kind of through those first couple of years until, you know, you felt like you were there.
Yeah, I mean, it took a while. I think, like my freshman year, I got a chance to play, which as a freshman, you're like, oh, this is awesome. Like, you know, I get a chance to play in the Big Ten. Like, this is great.
Yeah.
In hindsight, though, you realize, man, you probably should have redshirted. Like, I needed a chance to develop. You're always looking at the world out of your own eyes. You know what I mean? going into my sophomore year, I was the projected starter. So as a true freshman, I played a little bit. I was starter for the first couple of games as a true sophomore. Ended up a guy who was my backup, or supposed to be my backup, a guy named Jonal Sandik. He ended up breaking the school sack record, the forced fumble record, was a second-team All-American that season.
I remember him. Yeah.
Came out of nowhere as my backup and had like the season of his career. So that was like, man, I had some humble pie. I was supposed to be a starter and got bumped back, and it was like, you know, you had to kind of swallow your pride a little bit. And probably my junior year, and especially my senior year, is when I started coming into my own. I started as a junior for most of the games. I had a lot of injuries. I mean, my sophomore year, I tore my shoulder, blew out what's called your labrum, which I think you're familiar with.
Yeah. Tore mine too.
Yep, had to have surgery, battle back from that. Big aspirations for junior season. Didn't do bad, but wasn't what everybody thought I was.
It was a rough season for everyone.
It was a rough season for everybody. And then my senior year is really when I really stepped up, and I started every game, played through a broken foot, and realized that I was maybe going to have the potential to play at the next level, at least in a small capacity.
Okay, so now kind of how did that transition go from your senior year to the NFL?
Yeah, so when you finish your senior season, you have a couple options, right? So you can leave from there, and most guys go away and they train. Like if you're really serious, like you'll go away to like a training camp or whatever, and they'll train you, they'll get you ready for the combine, they'll get you ready for your pro days and all that stuff to showcase your talent in front of scouts and stuff like that. And I opted out of it because I still had classes that I needed to finish, so I ended up staying at state, living in a house full of like 5 guys that were just partying all the time, and I'm like not drinking.
Supposed to go to NFL.
Yeah, trying to like pursue my dream. So I've probably never been more diligent in my life in that little like 4-month window where I was like on it, didn't have a sip of alcohol,
in the summer in East Lansing.
In the summer in East Lansing of my senior year.
Woo!
Yeah.
Is that your 4th or 5th year?
That was my 4th year.
Oh, so you're still like 21, 20. Wow.
I had been in the bars before, but legally that was the first time I was allowed to be in the bars. And so yeah, it was a lot of willpower at that point in time, but I had trained harder than I'd ever really trained. My body looked a way that it had never really looked before. I was leaner than I had ever been. Trained my butt off. I actually trained with a sprinting coach in Michigan State, so he was working with me regularly. So I kind of did this makeshift training camp for myself, and really did a lot of my own training. Really did a lot of my agility work, my speed work outside of him, and really formulated my own diet and supplement regimen and all that other stuff. And then ended up blowing it out of the water at pro days and all that other stuff.
Wow.
I will tell you, I'll be the first to say that I wasn't the best football player by any stretch of the imagination. I won't pretend to be. But I was more athletic than 9 out of 10 guys that I would go against.
That's saying something.
That's fitness, though. I mean, that's, like you just said, a lot of athletes can go into that situation and be like, someone's going to tell me what to eat. Someone's going to tell me how to work out. I don't need to take care of that. But he took it on his own. Like, I need to find it. No one does that. No one goes to the sprint coach and say, hey, can you help me with this? He's like all internal.
Yeah.
And then nutrition and all that. And I mean, that's why you're here now. You literally created a formula that got you to the NFL. And it's health and fitness.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah, and I think where I differed from Coach Manny is the head strength and conditioning coach at Michigan State. I mean, we had all the tools and the resources. You've been in that weight room. I mean, you've probably seen some weight
John's
rooms.
best coach Manny?
Yeah. So you've met the man and the legend. So you have a lot of those resources. I think what was different for me, like back when I was an athlete and beyond, is like I always took the weight room. I always took nutrition, and I always took that stuff way more seriously than everybody else. It was a chore for everybody else. For me, I was in there to accomplish something. I was quiet. I kept my mouth shut. I did what I was supposed to do. And Coach Manny and I had a good relationship, which he didn't have that with everybody else.
No.
He kind of let you know what was going on. But and then I carried that through. I've always been really passionate about, like, if I'm reading articles or stuff, it's about nutrition, it's about supplements, it's about all that stuff, training, and so that was my own little test dummy.
That's awesome. Was there ever, do you think there's a difference between your senior year playing through freshman year playing, was it like mentally? Because like I think some people go into freshman year and sophomore year just thinking like, I don't need to learn this nutrition, I don't need to learn this, just like I said. Did it switch your senior year, or was it like confidence? Like what changed from your freshman to senior year mentally?
I think when you age, as you probably know, just you get older, you get a little swagger, you get a little more confident. You're supposed to be. I think, without getting too deep, I think you are what you think you are. You can make yourself. Your self-perception is fulfilled by, the way that you treat yourself or the way that you think you should be. And I don't know if that makes sense or not.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So like for me, I was supposed to be the big dog. I was supposed to be the starter. I was supposed to be the senior, the leader, and I didn't have a choice but to step into that role. You know what I mean? So it was the paradigm shift in my head. I think is probably what did more than anything. I don't think I was any better necessarily my senior year than I was my sophomore year and my junior year, but the way that I treated myself, the confidence that I had was probably what changed.
If you guys listen to this out there, how does this apply to fitness and health? He thought in his head, he just said, in my head, I'm supposed to be this head honcho guy, I'm supposed to be this confident guy, so he was. The thoughts in his head like came out, and that's what he was. So when you're training for fitness, we're training for fat loss, all that stuff, if you keep telling yourself, like, I'm just gonna be fat, I'm not gonna lose weight, or I'm not confident enough, I shouldn't be in this gym with these people, it's gonna project in your body, and you're gonna feel that. But if you come into it like, hey, I'm gonna lose this weight, I should be here, I'm confident, I'm good, I'm sexy, whatever you think in your head is what's gonna come out. So
we talk about that all the time, mentality, and I think every podcast we've had, that's what it's ultimately come down to. It's like, meeting with these successful people and whatever they were doing, like it ultimately comes down to their mentality, and the positive thoughts that we talked about before, and exactly what Brandon was saying. Like if you think it, that's going to happen. There's a good chance it is, but if you don't think it, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. If I've learned anything in my life through athletics, through sports, and maybe that's what sports does better than anything, or fitness does, is the self that you project to the world and to yourself is who you become. And I'm only 30. I'm not imparting any wisdom on a lot of you, but the truth is that you really control your state of mind, and your state of mind controls what you can achieve. And I don't. For me, that's been the case. Whenever I've been in a good mood and positive about the outcomes, I've always had a much easier time achieving them. So, I guess that's
well
kind of my thing.
I love it. So what about, talk about the NFL a little bit. What was that like?
Yeah, so I don't want to oversell my experience in the NFL, man. I was pretty low on the totem pole.
You're a lot farther than...
I was about as low on the totem pole as it gets. I mean, I was a guy who, again, athletically was very gifted and worked really hard to get there and could hang with the best of the best physically. But on the football field, those guys are not only durable. Durability is one of the most underrated characteristics of an NFL football player. Which was not my case. I'm sure we'll get into my injury history and stuff like that. Which is part of the reason why I didn't have a lot of success too, is I was never really healthy. But these guys are big, fast, strong, and they know the game. They know where to be, when to be there, and all that other stuff. So I was pretty low on the totem pole, like practice squad, special teams guy when I was playing in games and stuff like that. So it was, I don't, like I said, I don't want to oversell what I was doing.
When you said the story about Drew Stanton going by you and like the fastness of it, was it another level in the NFL?
It's great. So honestly, if I'm being honest, the biggest jump was high school or college, without a doubt. Because you get in high school, there's two guys that are maybe good enough to be standing on that field, right? Mm-hmm. That you play against in a whole season, where you're like two guys that belong in a Division I football field that you see. When you get there, the entire team is made up of those guys.
All those people.
Yeah, the speed is crazy fast. Once you get yourself used to that speed, the NFL wasn't necessarily that much faster, I wouldn't say. What was different was the mental aspect, like the preparation, all that stuff is crazy. The guys that are doing really, really well at that level prep unbelievably hard, like study their opponents, all that other stuff. And then the guys aren't only just the biggest, fastest top 1% in high school, they're the biggest, fastest top 1% in college. So it's not the guys that are just big or just fast and smart, it's the biggest, fastest, strongest, smartest. and those are the guys that are there. So it's not necessarily a speed standpoint, but there's just no holes in the game anymore. There's the weak spots aren't really weak spots; those are still All-Americans, and you know what I mean. So it's pretty crazy.
It's crazy to say that you see Tom Brady like still picking apart teams and like doing what he does.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know, man.
Dude,
It's on so many levels.
We prepped one of the games that I played in is we were playing the Colts, and Peyton Manning was still with the Colts back then. Obviously, he's retired now, so it's just aging myself a little bit.
He's probably watching right now. It's
Yeah. How you doing, buddy? Shout out over there. But I remember like the coaches coming in that week and just being like, no matter what you do, you're not going to out-prep Peyton Manning. Like Peyton Manning had his own office. Like he didn't just wasn't a player. Like he had an office on the coach's suite where he would go up and pick apart film, and they're just like, this guy's gonna pick you apart. So here's how we prep for him. You know what I mean? Because whatever we
they
think
told
we're
you
gonna
another NFL team told you you're not gonna outsmart Peyton Manning.
That's what it is.
He's accepted. Wow.
Drew Brees and Peyton Manning, you just had to prep like a different way for them because they whatever you brought, they were gonna be one step ahead.
Jesus.
So it was like, and you see why when you're in that position, the way that other coaches, other players, and people talk about that person who now we know is one of the greatest to ever live, right?
Yeah.
And so you see what it takes, and the guys that are great are doing that. You know what I mean?
So, what about what you're doing now? What is Fitbody 360?
Yeah.
So good stuff, guys.
The good stuff. So I got out of playing football, not on my own accord because I got hurt, and I got into the business world. I'll be honest with you. I got talked out of. We talked about Coach Manning. I had a meeting with Coach Manning and some other people in the strength and conditioning community that I really respected, and they told me that this was for the birds. That exercise science was a rough way to go. That I wasn't really going to make any money. I was going to work long hours, and I wasn't going to just pursue my talents elsewhere. And I took that information to heart, and I got in the business world, and I can't express to you in words how unhappy and miserable of a human being I was.
What are you doing?
I was selling staffing. I was wearing a tie to work every day, and I was sitting at a desk. And for some of you that may do that, I give you all the credit in the world, because for me and my personality, I couldn't have been any more unhappy. So my background was in exercise science and all that other stuff, so I got out of that and went right back into sports performance.
How soon?
I made it a year, and then I was back. I was back in sports performance, and ended up working for a place called Total Performance, and doing some stuff for them for a long time. So training all the athletes, other professional athletes, all the way down to youth, and doing some things like that.
Yeah, we're in Romeo right now, right?
We're in Romeo.
You work for the state championship Bulldogs, right?
Yeah. So we did. Yeah. So Romeo was one of the teams that we coached. That I did all their off-season stuff, getting ready for the season, and ended up winning the state championship. But so we did team stuff. You guys do some team stuff, so it was a little bit of that. And then got out of that and started this. And a lot of this technology here at Fitbody 360 stuff that was accessible to me, especially DEXA-scan. As an NFL player, we had these things. We had nutritionists at Michigan State. We had access to things that other people don't, but were super helpful to me. So how do we bring that stuff down to everybody? You know what I mean? How do we make it accessible stuff that is only for D1 athletes or NFL players or whatever? How do we make this affordable and accessible to people?
This is what's so exciting about being in this room right now. Is 5 years ago, like you in the NFL. 5 years ago, you could only get access to this DEXA scan, to this type of nutrition, if you were in the hospital seeing a medical doctor, or if you're an NFL or Olympic athlete. But now this is available to the public. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly what everything is here. But this stuff is the top of the top when it comes to measuring your body fat, your RMR, your bone density. You can know the hidden fats of your body, the dangerous stuff, the visceral fat that's around your organs. All this stuff is now available to the public, and this is gonna change fitness big time. I mentioned it right off the kick of this podcast that this is something new in the fitness thing that's going to really change fitness, and we're at the helm of it right now.
And I mean, it's already changing, those of you watching this. I mean, I know a lot of you guys have come and seen Brandon and done decks and all that, and it's an eye-opening thing, It really is, because it tells you straight up, there is no, well, it could be this, it could be that. It tells you straight up, everything you need to know to evaluate where you are at.
Yeah.
Brandon, how many people you come in here and you show them something and does it make them like emotional? Because I can see a lot of people who, there's a lot of guys out there, I'll say guys, dads in their 45s, 50s, who just stop working out. You know, they're the guys that drink in the garage, they eat chicken wings, but they look healthy, right? And they just kind of let their health go, and they just assume like, hey, I'm healthy. And a lot of those guys are the guys that go to bed and don't wake up because they have some massive heart attack that they didn't know about. Like, this kind of not technique, but this kind of equipment that you have here can help show some of that, right?
Yeah. So honestly, that's kind of, for me, like as the guy administering the test, is probably been the most eye-opening thing, is when you realize that there's not necessarily a correlation between being big and heavy and fat and being unhealthy, or being skinny and apparently healthy. Because I see these people that come in here that you would swear had like, I don't know, 20% body fat, like just the average guy that's got like 20 to 30% body fat, walks around, lives his life. And these people have like, I feel like I made a mistake because their body fat percentage is 36, 38, 39%, and you're like, where is that fat at? Because it's not over top of them. Like where the hell are they hiding it? And this picks up what's called visceral fat. It's kind of what you guys are alluding to. It picks up the fat that sits internally, which is pretty closely linked with health. And I've seen people. I had a guy in here yesterday that had 8 pounds of visceral fat, which most of the literature says like, hey, above 2 is no bueno, and he had like 8 pounds.
That's the eye opener right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that you need to know that for long-term health, and with like that. I mean, he probably didn't know that he was
no idea.
that.
I think he knew that he wasn't living a healthy lifestyle,
but he didn't know it to that extreme. Like he really needs to take steps to bring that down.
Yeah.
Well,
No clue.
the coolest part what you guys are doing for the public is, you on board that program? Good. Dallas, okay. The coolest part about that program is back 5 years ago, if you were to go get to the doctors to do an DEXA scan, number one, you got to schedule a doctor appointment. Does your insurance cover it? It's going to be costly. I mean, how much would it cost back then to get a DEXA scan, if you had access to it from like a medical doctor?
If you had access to it, you probably only had access to it because it was going to measure your bone health. You're a middle-aged woman or an elderly woman that wanted to know if they had osteoporosis. So they were using this big piece of equipment for a really limited scope and just doing like bone screenings. If you were a person that was fortunate enough to have a doctor that was forward-thinking enough to have the body composition with the internal fat measurement and all that other stuff, they would bill your insurance anywhere between $400 and $600 for a single scan. So then, we were like, well, we're not going to accept insurance, but how do we just make it affordable enough to have not turn that person away and still come see us and then get the forward-thinking information.
Speaking of forward-thinking, so this is the first building that I know of in Michigan that has this, but now they are forward-thinking enough where they're taking this mobile. So they just got a bus, got rats, and on the bus they're bringing the DEXA scan, everything, right to really cool buildings like Xceleration Fitness. So what we can do now, guys, is team up with them, and actually June 24th, they are coming to Xceleration Fitness. I haven't announced this yet. With the mobile DEXA scanner on a Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We're going to rent them out for the day. You show up, you get this professional DEXA scan that they were talking about. You get your RMR, nutrition, everything that he does for people on a daily basis, he can do for you now. And we're doing it one day only, and since it takes 7-8 minutes per scan, so we're going to take 30 people on June 24th. So if you want in that, hit like, let me know. We'll get you guys signed up.
Highly recommend, guys. Like Ben, myself, like some of the other trainers, we all do this because it is so important to know these things and to kind of keep track of them going forward. And obviously we're in good shape, but still you need to know these things, especially the visceral fat, because like you said, someone could be genetically predisposed to have more and has to do different things to correct that. Yeah. So I mean, you have to know these things.
Yeah, but now you know for sure.
Love it.
Before we go though, you get what?
Yeah, what else? So what else do you guys do here besides the DEXA?
Yeah, so that's our big. I mean, that's our Mac Daddy. That's the rare piece of equipment you're not going to find really anywhere. So that's our big piece of equipment. But I think what we do that's unique is instead of just saying, okay, here's your results, right? Walk away with it. We try to give people a roadmap and a solution to help them correct that, or hey, well, how do I get rid of that, or what do I do? So we have a bunch of other services that we include with that. At, you know, it's elective, it's a la carte. Like you do what you want to do, or take it as far or not far as you want.
Jeez.
I'm losing, man.
Can't
you out on live TV.
Sign us up.
So we do resting metabolic rate. So a lot of people, you hear people talk about how slow their metabolism is, right? That's the common excuse. Well, I've just got a bad metabolism.
That's what John always says, yeah.
I've heard it. No. So we get a really accurate picture of your actual metabolism. How fast, how slow is it? What do we do with that information is kind of unique. We put together a nutritional profile for people based off of them, catered directly to them, not just say, hey, you know, hey, 1,200 calories a day, whatever, and refine it. We can say, here's a really specific target for you based off of what I see, what's going on here. We do VO2 max testing, which is really popular in like endurance communities.
Yeah,
so like cyclists, marathoners, but there's some application for people who just want to lose a little weight too.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
it can help you how to structure your workouts, or give Ben or you guys a roadmap on how to maybe efficiently train you or something like that. We have a 3D scanner, so it's like an outside external body scanner. It's a great way to see like how we're changing externally, so what's going on the outside.
And you can make an action figure out of yourself.
This is true. This is true.
And you can get custom tailored clothes, which I think is really cool.
This is true. I have no testament to tell you how the clothes actually fit.
Yeah, I didn't try it, but I just saw it. It's like,
I don't know. We'll have him buy some expensive custom clothing and let us know how.
I don't know about that one, but we'll see.
Yeah. And then, so as part of our nutrition program, we offer supplements. So really high quality stuff that we try to offer to people, which will probably be explained in our line of supplements, but mostly just the staples, the stuff that you need done really well. And then finally, we have a physician on staff. We talked about, we had doctors. We had doctors in Michigan State. You had people that were looking out for you, like personally, not just coming in, checking off a check mark on a box and then leaving. Our doctor does what's called concierge medicine, which is very personalized care. Like with hormone replacement therapy, medically supervised weight loss, different things like that. So more preventative or cosmetic style of medicine, and that's kind of like the last bit of our puzzle. And then you touched on obviously us coming out to your place and taking our business mobile. So that's the next step of it. That's the next phase of the business.
Married?
Engaged.
Engaged?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm sure the ladies are asking, so.
I'm engaged. Yeah, I got a significant other, which is pretty great.
What's her name?
Jessica.
All right, shout out to Jessica.
Yeah, she's a doctor. She's working right now. She's smarter than me, so
This is awesome.
it's not the
So
same.
I'm gonna live in your basement soon.
There you go.
Where can we find you, social media wise?
Oh boy, I'm working on it. All right, so this is one
Go
of the,
follow him right now.
yeah, please, because I
Do they have an Instagram to follow?
I need all the help I can get.
I know one day you posted a few.
I think I got like 3 pictures out there, so don't judge me. I'm working on it. My Instagram tagline is Brandon Long 360.
Bam!
I've got a Facebook. I've got some other things. I've been usually using the company's stuff, but I think I'm going to try to create my own.
What is the company stuff on social media?
Yeah, so it's myfitbody360.com is our website. We have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram under the same tagline, which is myfitbody360. You can check us out there. We're going to have a lot more. We've got a marketing manager and we've got some people. So we got a lot of exciting stuff since we're launching these new segments of our business. So we're going to be taking that to another level. So make sure you follow us.
Cool, man. Well,
Sweet.
episode number 8 done. Selma, thanks for the love.
Oh.
Thank you, Brandon Long. You guys will be seeing a lot more of him soon because I'm making sure he's going to be posting on social media. You can download his podcast.
Well, you can't download. We can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on Facebook.
We
and
SoundCloud too?
SoundCloud sometimes because they delete them sometimes. So still fair to those things out. But video's been the best way to do it. So
Tune in next Friday, guys. We'll see ya. Peace.
Bye.
All right, Johnny, want to scan?
Viewers.
David Wick says Team Excel coming up. Hashtag chase it.
Oh, this is going to be good. It does better later because people go back and watch it.
Let me see the 7 comments.
How many people up there?
So what we're learning with this, the best, like why these are doing so well, it's because you can watch these or like listen to these in your car while you drive. Like you can do it while you're doing stuff on the computer.
Yeah.
So the Facebook ones, it's always like by 2 days later, like holy shit, 2,000 views.
I honestly, I think
We had
some of it has to do
177 views.
is with doing it on Friday.